Hello and welcome back to my channel. Now, a lot of YouTubers at this point say, welcome everybody, one and all that kind of rubbish, as if they're talking to thousands of people at the same time. I'm not. I'm talking to you, the one person who's actually sitting at the iPad or their Mac or their computer or their phone listening to this. Or rather, at this point, probably fast forward into the next bit because they're going, he's blithering again! Oh! Anyway, yes, I'm blithering again. It's been only just over a week since my last video, so I'm getting better at this. I did promise I was going to do one roughly every week, which is still on track. I have a number of recipes ready to go, so I'm going to try and keep one roughly every week. And I'm going to do it all the time because, as with many of you, a lot of the food we cook for ourselves is not exceptional. It's food. It's tasty stuff we rattle together in 10 minutes after a long, hard day at the office or at the plough or the swimming pool or whatever. And you don't want to video the stuff. You want to video something that's interesting to keep people coming back, hopefully. Right, and today's interesting is a dish called Aloo Keema, which is a mince and potato curry. Origins largely Pakistani, North Indian. It's sort of certainly that part of India anyway that I could find most of the recipes. I think if you get a little further south in India, it becomes more vegetarian anyway, certainly on this coast. Anyway, let's get on with it. Aloo Keema. It's really nice. It's fairly mild, and I made extra for putting a couple of portions in the fridge. So the portion sizes, the ingredient sizes, cut them down a little bit if you just want a smaller dish. Ba-ba! And what is on today is board of goodness. Right, well, it's a mince and potato curry, a keema aloo. So we have mince and we have potatoes. Mince, I've got about 3/4 of a kilo because it's going to be a decent size. I will freeze a couple of portions. Potatoes, I've got one decent one, couple of small medium ones, so as much as you want. I might actually swap that out for a slightly bigger potato in a minute. So let's say 3 decent sized potatoes, 4 cloves of garlic, about a thumb, a generous thumb of ginger, about, what have I got here, 5, 6, 7 or 8 small tomatoes, potatoes, whatever. Right, and then spices wise, I'm going to have probably about 3/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of garam masala, and a teaspoon of chilli powder. I will start though by crushing about half of a sort of thumb-sized log of cinnamon. I'll have a couple of bay leaves in there, and I'll have a couple of probably about 3 or 4 cardamom pods as well. I'll crush those to start with. A little bit of ground coriander towards the end. Salt is to taste, so keep tasting it all the way through. And the base of that is the onions. They're going to take quite a while to brown and mush down to make a really nice salad. And I think that's about it. We'll get on with it. So this is going to take quite a while. The onions always do in these type of recipes. You can do really quick and dirty 10-minute onions, but this is a dish that will reward you for patience. So be prepared to, I'm going to do this for about 50 minutes, I think. 40 or 50 minutes. Certainly they're going to be brown, and get them as brown as you can do. I'm going to start off with my early spices, the cinnamon, the bay leaves and the cardamom pods, which I've given a good crush in there. Normally I put the spices in when the onions are really well cooked. For this particular dish, I'm going to start early with this first round of spices. Right, let's get on with it. I'll be back in about 40 or 50 minutes. So we are well into the cooking process. I think that's about 40 minutes, needs a little bit longer. I've whizzed up the garlic and the ginger in a blender, so I'm going to add that in. This cuts a few minutes off because we've taken so long with the onions that conscious of your time, I'm going to cut a few corners, and this is the first one. So I've mushed up my garlic and my ginger. What I forgot to say at the start was that as you're cooking the onions for such a long time, add a little bit of water from time to time to stop them burning. I'm going to add all of the chopped tomatoes in as well now. This is going to cook for about 5 minutes. So you can go even darker than this if you wish. I sometimes do. But we've been at it for over 40 minutes so far, so I think for today it's getting late, so I'm going to call that okay. Still got a little way to cook though. So in with the chilli powder, the cumin, the coriander and the turmeric. And that's going to cook off for 10 minutes. Ten minutes later, we're going to get in there with the meat. That's going to take at least 20 minutes to brown. So, yeah, let's get on with it. So, where are we now? I think we spent an hour doing the onions and the spices and the tomatoes. We've had the mince in here for about 20 minutes browning. So that's an hour and 20 minutes so far. So we have cut a few corners. I've cut a few more corners by making the potatoes quite small. This will now cook off on a very low heat. I shall probably put the lid on for probably about half an hour. So yeah, I think the whole thing's going to take about 2 hours. But let's check. I'm going to get some salt in there now. But from this point till the finish line, keep checking on the salt content, because sometimes mince really soaks up the salt. So keep an eye on that. So lid on, 30 minutes, off we go. So about 10 minutes before it's finished, it's starting to look like this. Going to get a good sprinkle of garam masala in there, and maybe a tad more chili pepper. Tiny bit more salt, and yeah, we're into our final 10 minutes. Make some rice while you're waiting. I think I'm going to do this with rice today. Da, da, da. And here we are at the finishing line. It took about 45 minutes this last point, so that makes the whole dish, what, 2 hours and 15, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Let's turn the heat off first. Thing to notice about lamb is it's quite a fatty meat, so be careful of the oil at the edge. What I'm going to do is take from the middle, and then I'm going to spoon the oil out afterwards when it cools, because like I say, you don't get lean lamb quite so easily as you get lean beef. So here's some rice I cooked earlier. It's a turmeric rice recipe. It's very simple, and let's get some of that in there. Right, let's have a taste. That is perfect. Enjoy. So, thank you for watching. Do I have any meditations on the cooking process? Yeah, a couple. I've bought a turkey baster now, which I use as an opposite to being a baster. So when the oil, you can see when you're cooking any lamb dish, you see oil at the end. I'm using my turkey baster to sort of in reverse suck up the liquid rather than squirt out the liquid, because yeah, lamb is often quite oily. Tasty oil, but oil, and you've got to think of your health, haven't you? And the other thing is, if you have fresh coriander at the end of a keema is just, ooh, I hadn't got any. It tasted perfect as it was, but I do like fresh coriander with my mince. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and tell 40,000 of your friends. Next time, in a week's time, next week. Bye.